sometimes receiving just a little bit of power can be really corrupting. Hey everyone, welcome back to Andrew's Wizardly Reads, and as always guys, I am Andrew, and today I got another book review for you. But before we get to that book review, make sure you're liking and subscribing, hitting that bell notification so you can get regular updates for when I put out new content, episodes every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Also, make sure you're checking that description box down below for the link to the Wizardly Duo Discord, as well as links to all my social media and information about my Patreon. And today we are talking Daniel T. Jackson's Illborn. This was the birthday buddy read. For both Leslie and I have birthdays here in March, and we decided to select a book that we wanted to read together, or at least give it a shot. And so we decided to try out Daniel T. Jackson's Illborn. We had heard a lot of good things about it, and I will say that this is a very strong fantasy debut. Now, I do have some critiques for it. However, we will address those a little later in the review. Essentially, what is this book about? Well, I'm going to go ahead and read the back of the book. It says, long ago, the Lord Endul emerged from the deserts of the Holy Land. Possessed with divine powers, he used these to forcibly unite the peoples of Ungol before his ascension to heaven. Over 800 years later, in a medieval world which is threatened by war and religious persecution, 4 young men and women begin to develop supernatural abilities. These forbidden and secret powers will shatter the lives that they have known, and will force each of them to confront the mystery of the ethereal gate which haunts their dreams. What does the dream mean? How is it connected to their burgeoning abilities? As they experience conflict, love, lust, and betrayal in lands which are being overtaken by war, they must try to stay ahead of and to survive sinister forces which are now pursuing them, for they are being hunted. And, the blurb is actually very, very interesting because a lot of that really only refers to the history of the book. And one thing I do want to talk about is the sinister forces don't really feel all that sinister. Essentially, it's an inquisition that's already a part of the land. So there is one early critique there, is I didn't really feel like these forces were sinister. I just felt like, they were looking out for these people. Now, that said, we do have 4 main POVs here. We have got Arian, which is a duke's, I believe he's the 3rd son of a duke. We've got Alana, who is the daughter of a courtesan. And then we've got Leanna, who is a neophyte. I believe I've used that term correctly, or just a priestess. Let's call her a priestess. And then we've got Creon. And he is, I want to say, I always got the feeling that he was like some sort of tribesman out in just like the wilds, kind of doing like tribal battles and things of that nature with his tribe. And we've got these 4 rotating POVs who then start, experiencing these dreams that kind of seem kind of ethereal, and they keep happening and they keep happening and they keep happening all throughout the story. And they don't really know what it means. Well, they figure out what it means in the dream, but then when they wake up, they just lose the thread. And so you, the reader, never get that information. And let's see, if I have to choose a favorite POV here, it's going to be Arian. Specifically because where we start out with Arian's story is Arian is like the 3rd duke's son. And so basically the way it works is the 1st son inherits, the 2nd son leads the military, the 3rd son goes to the priesthood. Arian does not want to be a priest. He is very, very, very ardent on this. He's like, Father, I don't want to be a priest. I am not religious. I do not want to be celibate. Father, please, no. And like, he very, very, his father, the Duke's like, you're gonna be a priest. Quit bugging me with this. This is the way it's always been done. And yada, yada, yada. Leanna is, when we meet her, is due to be married literally, I think, within 2 days. And she is, when we first meet her, she's in school, some sort of religious sect school, where she has been studying, and she's very, very devout to the Lord Endul, and she falls down and has this vision, or seizure-like thing, where she receives her dream vision, and it's very, very interesting, and then later she does, the day of her wedding, she runs away to join the priesthood, or the priestesshood? The church. We're going to say she joins the church. I don't know the actual terminology for that, and I probably should. And then Creon is he is this very slight, very small, very non-confrontational man who is coming of age and now needs to start joining the raiding parties because there is tribal warfare going on. And the night that he goes on his first raiding party, things don't exactly go to plan. And then we kind of get his story. And then Alana started out my favorite character because I was like, oh, this is so good and this is so engaging. And then, like, across the course of the book, she's slowly kind of, she's no longer my favorite. And that shifts and becomes Arian. And essentially, what happens with her is her mother is dying of consumption. And as she's dying, like, she hasn't, like, left her daughter with any, like, marketable skills. And so she's trying to figure out how she's going to survive. She ends up going to the high priest in her town because her mother's, like, dying thing is like, hey, go to this person, he'll help you. Well, he's kind of a dirty priest, and he was sleeping with her mother, which is why he was even ever bothering to offer help. Things don't go to plan, and she ends up fleeing the town and going into hiding. And as these happen, all of these events are happening, we get kind of a cascading effect of events throughout the story, which is really, really interesting. One thing I will say is this is a very, very polished, self-published fantasy debut. I read this in about 4 or 5 days, and it's 700 pages. It is a thick, thick book. So I really, really enjoyed this. My overall rating, I believe I gave it, was a 3.75 out of 5. And the reason it loses some marks here is just some structural issues. Specifically, what I think this book should have been released as is 4 novellas instead of one giant bind-up. Because, basically, with these 4 POVs, they don't really overlap at all until the very end of the book. And really, there's only one POV who interacts with another 2, and then the 4th isn't even tied in. And so he's just kind of out there doing his own thing. And I feel like in 700 pages, we really could have probably brought them all together and made that work. Additionally, the mysterious dream doesn't really... It's the same dream over and over, just copy and pasted throughout these chapters. And it never really progresses. You're never given a new piece. It's always the same dream, the same wording. And it felt like, we could have just possibly referenced the dream after the second or third time, or maybe have it progress just a little bit and had little nuggets revealed to you, the reader, and that would have been a little bit more engaging. Additionally, one thing that kind of bothered me here is the fact that the book is called Illborn. The word Illborn doesn't even show up until, like, around the 600s. So towards the end of the book. And because of that, it feels like we're not given a whole lot of information on what the saga is going to be about. This basically ended up feeling like a 700-page prologue. Because I don't really know what the main goal of the Illborn is. I don't know their purpose. We don't know. It's all still a mystery. And after 700 pages, I feel like we should have had a little bit more information given to us. Like I said, the Sinister Forces are just Andul's Guard, which is the Inquisitor force for the main church. They're hunting the Illborn, but we don't really know why they're hunting the Illborn or any reason. Like, all of that still remains a mystery. Basically, this entire book just served to introduce us to these characters. And so for that reason, I wanted a little bit more information, some more of the mystery revealed within 700 pages. And I'm going to harp on the fact that this is 700 pages, and it just feels like an introduction to the story and these characters, and I feel like we could have maybe accomplished a little bit more with that amount of page count. That said, those are some very, very... It feels like I'm being critical. I did enjoy the story. I did feel like it flowed very well. It's got some interesting elements. The way that these individuals' powers reveal themselves and how they are executed, you can feel like these powers are corrupting our POVs. But at the same time, there's still nuggets of, like, redemption. And I think, like, we will see in further releases how that plays out. So I'm very interested to get my hands on the second book in the Illborn saga, because maybe once I have that book, it will raise the rating on Illborn even higher, because a lot of the times when I've read a second book, it kind of just brings everything into focus, and that's kind of what I'm hoping for the next book. I do recommend that lovers of epic fantasy and just self-pub go ahead and pick this up. It is polished. It is an engaging story. It's a little messed up, so it is on the darker side of fantasy, but I think there is a lot here to enjoy. That said, guys, let me know in the comments down below if you plan on picking this up. Were you part of the birthday buddy read? What did you think? We had some great engaging conversation in those threads on the Discord. Please, I would love to hear your thoughts. That said, guys, that's all I've got for you. So, till next time, peace out, stay magical, bye. And as always, I want to give a huge thank you to my patrons.